I am going to show you how to do a joining stitch for a baby sweater pattern from the Sock Yarn One-Skein Wonders book. The picture of the sweater is on page 168, called Patches Baby Sweater. It's this sweater right here. Down here is instructions for knitting the stripes together. They're a little bit confusing, so I'm going to show you how to do that. This is the sweater that we are working on. It's not completed. I'm working on this right side here. So down here is the piece that I'm working on, and you can see that I have made one piece and I'm knitting up the other piece which joins as I'm knitting with this joining stitch right here. Now I need to get to the join, so I will quickly knit over. There are 17 stitches on each panel. The original pattern calls for sock yarn, which changes colorways in a patterning form to make blocks, but I wanted a sweater that would fit a larger baby. The pattern says it makes a 6-month size sweater, but it is considerably smaller than that, so I wanted a sweater that would fit a baby for longer than a few weeks. So I chose to use size 4 needles rather than size 1 needles and a larger yarn. Okay, so you get to within 1 stitch of the end of your row, and what you need to do is slip that stitch knitwise. So go in from the knit direction, put it through, and take it off and leave it on the needle. Now, the directions in the book don't tell you this, but you need to skip every other row because you're knitting one row and then back. So what you do is the last stitch came out of this blue here, so you go, there's a stitch below, above is pink, and one more stitch above that is pink, so that's 2. You slip your needle in, wrap around, and pull that stitch up. Now you want to knit that stitch, so you slip it onto the left needle, and it's going to want to be real loose. So you pull it snug and slip it like a knit stitch, wrap, and knit it. And now it's knit off of the side here. Now the next thing you do is, hanging onto this yarn, you slip your left needle through the slipped stitch and lift it over like that. It looks a little floppy and loose, but as you'll see, it will blend in like this. It is a double stitch, so all of these are bigger. They're 2 rows high. So we're going to turn our work to the back. Now the next thing you want to do is slip that first stitch purlwise like this and leave it on the needle. And it looks like there's a great big hole here, but when you purl that next stitch and hang on to it tight and lift it off, it secures that stitch right there. And I'll do a couple more just to keep it from slipping away from us, so that you can see when I turn it over what this looks like on the back, or on the front rather. So this is how that stitch looks connected like that. The thing that I wanted to point out in the directions in that little box where it shows how to do this stitch, or it tells how to do this stitch, is it indicates, like I did, that when you flip and slip that first stitch purlwise and then continue to purl, that is correct up here for the body of the sweater. But down here you are going to not follow the directions at the beginning. As it says to purl that back row, but obviously for the garter stitch you're going to knit every row. So it's a little bit confusing in the directions because it says to purl that back row right at the beginning when you're first learning how to do this stitch. So just be aware that you're going to follow whatever the pattern design is. Down here it would be to knit every row front and back, and up here it's going to be to knit the front row and then follow the directions the way they're written and turn and purl the back row. And that is how you do a join stitch.